This is Newsmax TV. I'm Ashley Martella. Another Rasmussen daily tracking poll shows Obama with a negative approval index. On the phone with us right now, independent pollster Scott Rasmussen. Welcome back to Newsmax, Scott.
It's great to be with you.
Okay, what's your latest tracking figures all about? What do they show?
Well, the raw numbers are pretty straightforward. 31% of Americans strongly approve of the way Barack Obama is handling his job. 33% strongly disapprove. And before the last week, we'd never had a circumstance where the number who disapproved outweighed the number who approved. So we're in new territory. Right now, the approval index at -2 is as low as it's been. What we've seen in the last month, a growing number of people who strongly disapprove. And we're seeing it at a time when the president's honeymoon is coming to an end and people are beginning to look at the policies that he's promoting.
Scott, what do you think is the real significance of that number?
This number, is not the standard approval number that people talk about when they say the president's approved of by 55%. These are people who have a firm opinion. They're likely to tell others about it. They have followed the news. The fact that these numbers are growing evenly divided is yet another indicator just of how evenly divided our nation is. And again, the fact that the president's actions are now beginning to increase the disapproval of his activity. And we can look at the similar types of things in all sorts of polling. When we talk about health care reform and the proposal that the president is talking about, the public is fairly evenly divided, but those who have strong opinions tend to oppose the plan more than support it. On the cap-and-trade legislation, 42% believe it's going to hurt the economy, only 19% believe it's going to help. The bailout of General Motors and the takeover of General Motors is strongly opposed. Right now, those things are weighing the president's numbers down. What's going to tell over the next year is how the economy performs and how it really works under all of these things. Quite frankly, if a year from today, if GM is doing great and throwing off profits and being sold and getting the taxpayers their money back, people will say, we were wrong, the president was right, and it's great for him. But if GM is back asking for more bailouts, the president's numbers will be substantially weaker than they are today.
Scott, when you do these polls, do you ask an equal number of Democrats and Republicans?
No, because there are not an equal number of Democrats and Republicans in the nation. Right now, the Democrats have about a 7-point advantage on the national basis, and so our poll reflects that. What we do know is that right now Democrats tend to strongly approve of the president, Republicans tend to strongly disapprove, and the people who are in the middle, that unaffiliated group, which is just under a third of the population, they are mixed in their assessment of the president, but their support has been declining.
Okay, on to another topic now. You did a recent poll about how people think Obama is handling the situation in Iran following the fraudulent election there. Any findings of surprise?
What was really fascinating to me is we polled that question right at the very beginning of the protest, and then we polled it just a couple days ago. And obviously the president has come out with different statements, each one a little bit stronger than the one before, but the events on the ground have been moving rapidly as well. And so right now, basically, the country is evenly divided between those who say he's responded about right and those who say he's not been aggressive enough. And not surprisingly, Democrats tend to say he's doing about right. Republicans say they want him to be more aggressive. But what fascinates me is that with all the protests and with all of the changes in positions by the president, it didn't sway those basic numbers.
You have some numbers out about health care reform as well.
Yeah, 50% of Americans say they at least somewhat favor the plan that's being debated. 45% say they at least somewhat oppose it. But the number who strongly oppose outweighs the number who strongly support it. And the biggest factor here, and this has been something that we've talked about from the beginning of the health care debate, the American people like the idea of health care reform in theory, in the abstract. Only 35% think this system is in good or excellent shape. But people like the coverage they get by themselves. Among the insured population, 70% say their own coverage is good or excellent. Among all Americans, only 8% say their health care coverage is poor. So whenever any health care proposal threatens to force people to change their insurance coverage, they get squeamish. They don't like the idea, and we're seeing that right now. The people who think that the president's reform would force them to switch coverage are strongly opposed to that, and that's something we're going to be monitoring over the next couple of months.
Pollster Scott Rasmussen, thanks so much for taking some time out for Newsmax.
It is my pleasure.
And we'll talk to you again soon, and thank you for watching Newsmax TV.
Homeland Security advises every family to have an emergency radio. It's essential for severe weather, power failures, even terrorism. Now Newsmax is offering you an emergency radio absolutely free. Just pay shipping and get the radio, plus a free trial subscription to Newsmax magazine. Go online to Newsmax.com to check out the details of this great offer. Get your free emergency radio today. Just call 800-NEWSMAX. Make sure your family is protected. Call now, 800-NEWSMAX.